It is Monday, December 2023. You're watching this report. The official rules for the DV 2026 lottery have not yet been released by the U.S. government. However, we can still go ahead and talk about the steps that you need to take in order to qualify and win the lottery next year, because most of the rules stay the same every single year. So today I am going to share with you my top 8 tips that will help you to increase your chances of winning the U.S. Diversity Visa Lottery this year. So make sure that you stick around until the end of the video so that you don't miss any of these important tips. Now, this video is mainly aimed at people who are new here and who are entering the DV lottery for the first time. But if you're someone who has entered the lottery before and just wants to brush up on the rules, or if you've entered before but did not win, then this video will also be useful to you because it is possible that you missed something during the registration period. So let me start off with the most obvious step, which is to make sure that you meet all of the eligibility requirements. For example, you must be from an eligible country. You must have a qualifying family relationship, if applicable. You must have the required education level, you must have the required work experience, and you must meet the minimum income requirement. If you do not meet these requirements, then you will be automatically disqualified even if your name gets selected. I know that it might be tempting to just rush through the online form and just click submit as soon as possible so that you don't forget to enter. But if you do not meet all of the requirements, then it's better that you don't submit your application at all, because if you get selected, then you will waste an entire year of your green card eligibility, and you will also have to pay the processing fee of $200 again. And there is absolutely no point in wasting the $200 because it's not refundable. So make sure that you read everything carefully and double-check everything before submitting your application. If you need more information on the requirements, then I will leave a link below where you can find all of the details. Next, make sure that you use a good email address and that you keep it active for the entire registration period. Now this one is very important. I get a lot of comments on my videos from people who say that they never received the notification emails from the US government, and so they were unable to complete their application on time. Well, this is probably because they used a free email address like those from Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail. And the problem with these addresses is that sometimes the emails get blocked or get lost in the spam folder. And in some cases, these free email providers completely block emails coming from certain countries, including emails from the US government. In fact, last year, many people reported that they never got the second notification email, which contained the instructions on how to complete the DS-160 form. So it's best that you use a reliable email address, preferably a paid one from a reputable email provider. In addition to that, I also recommend that you enable the step verification on your email account, because it is possible that you will receive additional security codes when trying to access your account after the submission. This happened to me last year, but luckily I had the step verification already set up. So I was able to quickly access my account and submit my application on time. Another important thing to remember is that the entire registration process must be completed online. No part of the application can be completed by hand, and no documents need to be mailed in. All you need to do is to fill out the online form, make the payment, and then print the confirmation page. That's it. However, after your entry has been accepted, you may be asked to upload additional documents later, especially if there are some issues with your application or if they need additional proof that you meet the eligibility requirements. For example, if you select yourself as having a qualifying family relationship, then you need to provide supporting documentation. Or if you select that you have a master's degree or higher, then you may need to upload your diploma or transcripts to confirm this. But I'll talk more about this in tip number 7. Okay, now I want to talk about something that you should never do, and that is to use any kind of DV lottery services or agents or software programs that promise to increase your chances of winning. These are nothing more than scams. The U.S. government has clearly stated that any person or company that offers to help you enter the lottery for a fee or claims that they can increase your chances of winning is doing something that is illegal. The only way to participate in the DV lottery is by submitting an entry form online for free. There are no shortcuts and anything else is a scam. Now, if you want to increase your chances of winning, then the best thing that you can do is to make sure that you're re-entering the lottery correctly and consistently every single year. In fact, you can enter the lottery multiple times as long as you use different qualifying criteria each time. For example, if you entered the lottery this year as a single person, you can still enter again next year, but this time as a member of a family unit. But make sure that you do not try to trick the system by creating fake family relationships, because this will get you banned from the program and you will never be able to participate in the lottery again. Also, if you plan on entering the lottery next year, then make sure that you save your unique identifier code. This is the number that you see on your confirmation page once you have submitted your application. You will need this code to submit another entry next year. And if you lose this code, then you will not be able to reuse the same qualifying criteria. Now, speaking of saving the confirmation code, make sure that you also print the confirmation page right away. It's possible that the website will be down right after you finish the registration, so make sure that you don't wait until the last day to do this. And do not forget to write down your confirmation number. I know that a lot of people complain that they cannot find the confirmation page after printing it, especially when they move or change computers. So make sure that you always store it in a safe place, ideally in your passport or other important document. And while we're talking about making copies of your documents, make sure that you also take a photo of the barcode on the confirmation page. This will come in handy when you're applying for your immigrant visa at the embassy. Okay, moving on to the next tip. If you have a friend or family member who is already living in the U.S., then you should consider using the family sponsorship option. The DV lottery has a separate category for spouses, children, and parents of U.S. citizens and green card holders. And the requirements are much more lenient compared to the general category. For example, your age does not matter if you're being sponsored by a U.S. citizen, and you don't need to have any education or work experience. However, keep in mind that if you are being sponsored by a relative, then they need to show that they are willing and able to financially support you and any other family members who will be coming over with you. To do this, they will need to complete an affidavit of support form, and they will need to submit tax documents to prove that they have sufficient income to support you. Also, if your relative is a U.S. citizen, then they need to have lived in the U.S. for at least 3 years. Otherwise, if they're a green card holder, then they need to have had their green card for at least 3 years. This is the next tip that I want to talk about, and that is to make sure that you complete the online form correctly and that you do not make any mistakes. You only have one chance to submit your entry, so you really need to make sure that everything is correct before submitting it. For example, your spouse's name and date of birth must match exactly with the information that you provided in your own application. Same goes for your children, and if you're claiming a qualifying family relationship, then you need to make sure that you provide the required documentation. Also, if you have any criminal record, then you need to indicate this in the appropriate field in the form. And the same goes for medical issues. You must also make sure that you're uploading the correct photos. The photos need to meet certain requirements in terms of size, quality, background, and other things. So make sure that you read about these requirements carefully before taking your photos. You can find more information on this on the official website. Now, I wouldn't worrying too much about the photo issue, because if you have some small issues with your photos, then the embassy can overlook that. But what I am trying to say is that you should not skip this step entirely, or else your entire application will be rejected. Finally, I want to talk about something that a lot of people seem to forget, and that's to set an alarm to remind you that the registration period is almost over. Even if you've entered the lottery before, it's easy to forget that it's happening because it only takes a few minutes to submit the application. So it's very easy to overlook. If you're not careful, the registration ends quickly, usually within the first few days. So please do not forget to set an alarm. It's a good idea to set multiple alarms to remind you and maybe ask a friend to also remind you. I've seen a lot of comments from people saying that they forgot to enter the lottery again this year and they asked me to remind them next year. So if you'd like me to send you a reminder next year, then make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications. I will post an announcement as soon as the registration opens. Alright, so that's it. Those are my 8 tips for winning the U.S. Diversity Visa Lottery. Make sure that you follow me on social media and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. I wish you the best of luck and hope that you win this year. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.